What's up, guys? Today I'm going to get some work done on this 91 CRX SI. This is a good friend of mine's car. He's had it for about 5 or 6 months now. Needs a little bit of love to get it completely roadworthy, and we're going to hopefully help get it there today. He has already changed out all the fluids. Last week I swapped over some tires for him. I took it to the shop, had those put on there. A little while back he had came over. I didn't record any of it. I had installed an AEM AFR gauge for him. We were kind of tinkering around with his ECU and HON data. Car was stuttering. It wouldn't go past 4K. We don't know if that's what kind of base map is on the ECU. I set it up for just a stock B16A, but he really hasn't had a chance to drive it yet because it did not have an exhaust on the car. So it was running open header, and within the last 2 weeks he ended up buying an E-base setup just so of course we can get the piping. And also on that day we did the air fuel gauge. He installed the PLM Toyota style header. The one he had on there, it was missing an O2 sensor bung and it was a little dented, so he just wanted to upgrade it with something a little nicer. But he did not have any sort of pipe to connect the header to the catback exhaust. And so he picked up a Max Speedy Rods test pipe. This is a telescopic one which you can spin and then you can weld it. He asked me to take care of the welds for him. I'm just going to put it on today, get that welded up. That way his exhaust setup is completely done. Next, you may have watched a video where I was trying to install these hocks on Jackson, but they're 9091 CRX SI specific because they have a different brake caliper. So I ended up selling those to him along with those rotors. I'll probably throw those on also. And when I was toying around with his ECU and checking the codes, it was throwing a code for a knock sensor, and I looked back there and there's not one wired up. So I'll get out a plug, just wire that up really quickly and see if we can eliminate any check engine lights and hopefully take it for a ride where it's not experiencing any issues of cutting out at 4K. I also have an OBD1 P30 ECU that I can try just in case the HON data is still not running well or running correctly. I'll just try stock ECU and see if we can get it running there. So I'm gonna get started on this, see if I can get most of it knocked out within the next couple of hours, and hopefully we can take it for a ride and see if we can eliminate some of those issues. After hitting it with my flux welder, ready to throw it on. These welds don't look half bad. You know it's going to be under the car, it's not going to be an issue. Let's get it bolted up. And the test pipe is on. It fit really well. The only thing I had to do was at that end, this little center piece, when I removed it, you saw me earlier, I cut off about 1/2 inch because I needed it to be a little bit shorter, and this length that I made is perfect. It bolted up perfectly here, same with the exhaust side. And the hardware it came with fit perfectly there. He had the spring bolts to install, but they don't fit through the diameter of either of the flanges. So I just used, the test pipe actually came with 5 of the bolts. I just used those that were on there, added some additional nuts that I had laying around, and it looks great. Fits really well with the 2.5 inch collector on that PLM test header, and then the test pipe having the 2.5 inch one. Also, it's a great fit there. And then the back, of course, to the CRX specific exhaust. No issues. Should be great to leave on there. And if I actually angled this over here in case he needs to add something else. I don't think he will because I had already added the air fuel gauge right here and well, the sensor right here. It's close to the half shaft, but it still doesn't have any issues at all. It's maybe like ½ inch from the half shaft, so good to go down here. Now I'm going to wire up that knock sensor. Just for reference, if you're ever wiring up a knock sensor, you can't really see it. The knock sensor is only a 1-wire plug, so you can use a lot of these. These will fit on like your intake air temperature sensor, also the coolant sensor, the ECT down here. It's pretty much the same plug throughout. If you're curious which wire it is, the wire that it's going to be coming out of, where the prong is, it's always closest to the clip. So when you put it on, we're going to use that top wire, the orange wire, to wire up straight to the ECU. So I got the battery reconnected, got the knock sensor wired up to D3. I haven't tucked it in yet, haven't even soldered it. I just want to make sure, see if we can get rid of that check engine light on startup, because it would turn on after just a couple seconds. Imagine it's going to be pretty loud with this exhaust setup, but let me get it started really quickly. Who knows, maybe the sensor's bad. Let's try a stock OBD1 P30 ECU. Let's see if it just turns on right away. Still the same, huh? Let's see if we can't figure it out. Okay, so I have his ECU plugged back in, brought out my laptop. Let's get this connected. It's telling us there's one error code. So it's saying knock sensor still. So maybe the sensor itself is just bad. I don't know if I have a replacement. I could try to swap it out really quickly. I'm gonna look and just check. Alright, so I think I found one. I'm almost positive this is it. I'm gonna pull the other one, see if this matches, and hopefully this one works. I don't know, this is in a box full of old sensors and plugs that I have. We're just gonna give it a shot anyway. Now, when I was looking back there with the mirror, the knock sensor is pressed right up against the intake manifold. There is no room to fit a socket around it. You'd have to remove the intake manifold to change it on this particular setup. It wasn't like that on my CRX. When I first got this, it was giving me a knock sensor check engine light. It still gives me a knock sensor check engine light. Granted, it's OBD0. I've been driving it, I've been racing it, and it's been 2 years since I've left it alone. I tried 2 different knock sensors at the time. I don't know, maybe even this is one that I tried, and it still doesn't work. The knock sensor light still kicks on. I don't know if something's wrong overall, but it's been perfectly fine at like 5 track events, so I don't know, maybe that's what's causing his hesitation. I'm gonna go take it for a spin real quick just to see how it feels. I can't imagine I did anything different. He had the same ECU in, he was having that issue, but I'm gonna give it a spin anyways and see. Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe it's not even a knock sensor related issue.
And there was a solid pull and just a little bit of driving. I didn't have any issues with it revving over 4K. It didn't stutter at all. It actually pulls hard. You know, it felt really strong for what it is. You know, it leads me to believe that, you know, when you turn the car on and that light turns on right away, that the sensor is bad. The wiring should be perfectly fine. I hooked it up to D3 on the connector, which is where it goes for an OBD1 setup, but it didn't seem to matter. And that's usually when a sensor is bad like that, it turns on right away. Like, I don't even need to turn the car on. So I think that the sensor may just be bad. But you know, like I said, I've been driving Route 49 for the longest time with a knock sensor issue, and I haven't blown the engine yet, so it's a good thing. Hopefully the same goes here. I was talking to Chris right now. He's like, you know, let's get it aligned and let's send it. Let's take it to the track and have some fun with it. So we're gonna try to get it aligned hopefully here shortly. And then after the alignment, maybe we can get the brakes installed. That'll be really quick. We just need to order some or buy some, then take it to the track and have a little bit of fun with it. I don't think I talked about what it is. It has an SIR1 motor from an 8891 EF8 or EF9. It's a HMO transmission / motor combo. Now, Chris bought the car this way. It's a 91 CRX SI. He only paid $2,800 for it. I think it was a steal. It came with the Rota wheels. He had those other tires on, and I sold him these Federals now. So the tires he had on there were still fine. They just weren't as grippy. It has Skunk 2 radiator, Skunk 2 intake manifold. I don't know if the throttle body is an Alpha. I think it's stock. It has a Skunk 2 Pro S2 coilovers, front, rear, Skunk 2 camber kits also. And that was essentially it. One thing that's really neat I've never seen in person is that Accord climate control swap. They put those in here to replace all of the damaged CRX units. It fits really well, and I was testing this out, fully functional. I like it. You know, if you didn't know, for someone that's not familiar with it, they probably wouldn't be able to tell that it wasn't for this car. But I don't know if it came with the K-tune shifter. This was kind of funny. When I was smashing on it, it actually like came loose. So I'm just going to tighten up those two Allen key, the Allen wrench, the Allen head bolts right there. I'll probably put a little bit of Loctite on them too. And then his interior passenger seat he took out just for the meantime. Seat's obviously tore up and has a lot of the rear interior, and the dash is solid as well. So I think for the price he paid for, like, that's a super solid deal. $2,800 for just even a stock CRX alone. But that'll wrap it up for today, guys. I think I'm done playing with it. There's not really much else I can do. I think the only thing I'm going to do is lift this wheel a little bit for him. This one seems a little low in comparison to the others. Yeah, this side looks better. Here's a shot of that exhaust. He just has an eBay setup on here. And I told him just to get it for now so we have the piping, and then we can determine if you want to put like a nicer muffler or maybe like a muffler on this side. He can go from there. And you know, this piping on these mufflers, it's solid. Just the mufflers itself generally are pretty trashy. Thanks for following along today, guys. We'll talk to you soon. See you next time.